Call the meeting order. All rise. Please remain standing for the invocation by the Reverend Dr. William King of the Living Word Bible Fellowship. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's bow our hearts and our heads in a word of prayer. Eternal God, our Father, we are thankful for the privilege that we still have to bow in humble submission to you, recognizing you as King of Kings and Lord of Lords and our Savior. We thank you also that as we celebrate Black History Month in the nation, that our mayor and its council saw fit to set this evening aside to honor those outstanding African American community leaders of Gloucester Township. But Lord, we cannot ignore the fact that we're living at tumultuous times, a time when there's a total disregard and loss of respect for human life that you alone created. And then, Lord, there is the violence that has taken on a life of its own and has boldly invaded our world, our community, our institutions of higher learning, our homes, our highways, in the form of home invasion, road rage. But we thank you that you have shown grace and mercy to our township. So with all of the problems of governance, we ask you to continue to pour out your divine wisdom upon our elected officials, our mayor and our township and our council, so that they may govern all citizens with respect and honor. And then, Lord, let us as citizens, young and old, irrespective of our hue or color, join together with our leaders in humbling ourselves in heartfelt prayer. Let us do so for the love of God and his great goodness, in search of his guidance and grace and repentance. We pray this in the precious name of your Son, Jesus. Amen.
Please rise for Lift Every Voice and Sing. The words are on the back of your program. Please be seated. Thank you so much.
This regular meeting of the Township Council is being held in accordance with the schedule of meetings of the Township Council, established and adopted by the Township Council, which schedule designated a time, date, and place of this meeting. Adequate public notice of this meeting has been provided pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act. We're using electronic amplifying and recording device, and in order to obtain an audible and clear record, we request all those wishing to speak be recognized and state your name and address directly into the microphone. The recording device is to be solely utilized by the Township Clerk's Office and shall be the official record of Township Council meetings. Roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Present.
Mr. Schmidt?
Present.
Mr. Seiler?
Here.
Mrs. Trotta? Here. Mrs. Winters? Here. Mr. Mercado?
Present.
Mr. Bianchini?
Present.
Mr. Lechner?
Here.
Chief Earl?
Here.
Mr. Carlemere?
Here.
Mr. Curtis?
Here.
We, as we started, we have the Black History Month celebration. Please.
I guess it's my official position this evening to welcome each and every person that's here in this cold weather. Thank you so much for coming out. It's supposed to be something else this week, so stay warm, stay safe, and stay well. It's been my pleasure for the past few years to welcome you each year for Black History Month. I see some faces I recognize. I see some faces I don't recognize. I see a lot of beautiful students here who've been recognized by their schools, which is a wonderful thing. So without any further ado, let's get this show on the road. We were to have a musical selection by Lanesha Rucker, but she is ill. So we're going to go to the next thing on the program, which is the award recipients. We're starting with, I believe it's Coach Kareem Fisher, am I right?
Hi, good evening. Is Mr. Fisher here? Please come. Good evening, everyone. My name is Assemblywoman Gabrielle Mosquera. I represent the 4th Legislative District, which Gloucester Township is one of the communities, and I have the honor to present a very special award to Mr. Kareem Fisher. Is Mr. Gary Saunders and Ms. Ray Robinson here? If you could please come up as well. These are two individuals that nominated Mr. Fisher for today's award, and I just want to basically read just a little bit about what they had to say about Mr. Fisher. Just first of all, you are an extraordinary person just by being a teacher, because being a teacher is definitely a calling. Not everybody can do it, so thank you for being called to the profession of teaching, which if you're going to be a teacher, I know it's done out of love and dedication for the children, so thank you for that. So Mr. Kareem Fisher is an enthusiastic, dynamic educator. He has been a member of the Timber Creek staff since 2006, and he is actually part of the physical education department. He has held many levels of responsibility, including former offensive coordinator for the Timber Creek's first state championship football team and first head coach to win the championship with the girls track team. So that's amazing. As the current Assistant Athletic Director at Timber Creek, Mr. Fisher is responsible for an incredible amount of duties. Most notable is his commitment to our students. He has originated several activities to ensure that our students meet top-level fitness. His CrossFit program, which he also runs in the community, is not only designed to improve the physical fitness, but also the mental fitness of the students. He works with our students to make them better people, all the while preparing them for the trials of the real world. He's determined to promote credibility and responsibility in our students and expect no less than their best. So on behalf of, on behalf of Gloucester Township Mayor David Mayer and Gloucester Township Council, as well as Camden County Board of Chosen Freeholders and the 4th Legislative members, which is Senator Madden, Assemblyman Moriarty, and myself, we congratulate you for being an outstanding person on behalf of Black History Month. Thank you so much. Before we turn over to Mr. Fisher, would Ms. Robinson or Mr. Saunders would like to say a few words about Mr. Fisher?
Sure. I just really depend on Kareem every single day. He makes our sports programs after school run without incident, and he just connects with the kids, and you know, he does such a fabulous job, and I never worry about anything after school. It just kind of flows, and I have him to thank for it. So I really appreciate what you do for our school and our kids. Much.
Just want to echo those sentiments. Mr. Fisher is a true ambassador for Timber Creek High School. He goes out on a limb every day, do everything he can to make sure our students succeed. His total commitment every day is something that I admire, and I'm glad we had a chance to recognize him for everything he does.
Mr. Fisher, would you have a few words to say?
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank everyone for recognizing me. I know sometimes, especially in education, like you said, it gets tough. You feel like, you know, you're kind of banging your head against the wall sometimes. But we get the opportunity to come, and I actually have some students and some former players in the crowd who, you know, didn't expect to see tonight. And it's always great to see them, and seeing current players and, you know, current students who I get to see every day. And, you know, just very proud of you guys. And it makes what we do as teachers and educators, you know, you get to see it, and it makes it feel very real and feel very important. You know, I'm honored for this and very humble, you know, to have this position, and I really appreciate everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher. Definitely an outstanding person.
It is my pleasure to honor Amatero Dario. Is she here? Please come up. I think she could dunk on me. I don't jump too high anyway. Reading this passage from Amatero's class from Lewis Middle School just warms my heart, as we have wonderful young folks in our township that are going on to becoming great people. And as I read this, you'll see why. This outstanding young lady here has accomplished so much in her short time here on earth, and is going to leave a mark at Lewis and hopefully eventually at Highland High School and on. So it's my pleasure to introduce and tell you about Tara, also known as Tara. She is the youngest of 4 children, and consider it a blessing to have such outstanding role models in her 3 brothers. What a nice thing to say when you can look up and have role models in your own family. I understand what that is, since I'm one of 9, and I had a lot of role models. In fact, Tara, as she's called, is particularly inspired by the latest achievements of her older brother. She states that watching him prepare for his interviews with Brown and Princeton universities made her proud and gave her an increased yearning for such an achievement. Tara is an A and B student during her entire tenure at Lewis. She currently has all A's. Tara is not just beauty and brains. This outstanding young lady has played on the school basketball team for the last 3 years and runs track. As a 7th grader, Tara was inducted into the National Junior Honor Society, where she currently holds the office of treasurer. That's really wonderful. Wow. Go ahead. Tara states the volunteer work that she helps to lead and execute with the National Junior Honor Society gives her an intrinsic reward that is priceless. Tara enjoys helping people and watching them smile as a result of her helping hand. This dedication to serving others is further evident in Tara's desire to become an oncologist. She states, I always want to help people. What better way to help them fight and beat cancer. Tara will attend Highland High School. Miss Petit, you're going to have a great student here. In the fall, she's currently enrolled in all honor classes and excited about the challenges, exposures, and achievements that high school will bring. When asked to explain where her passion to help and succeed stems, Tara responds, it's because of God. that that the family I have that raised me this way. My dad always says, always focus on school first, everything else comes after. And if you're doing your best and you know you're doing your best, that's enough for me. This gives Tara the drive and the motivation to push for success even when things are hard. Here's a few things that others have said about her at school. Mrs. Loeb, Tara's National Junior Honor Society teacher, says Tara is a fine young woman that not only stands out with her beautiful height, but also with her outstanding character. She is every teacher's dream student in the classroom because of her leadership abilities, integrity, kindness, and service to others. Miss Jackson, Tara's basketball coach, stated, I had the pleasure of having Tara on Lewis girls basketball team for 3 years. Tara has been a dedicated player who works hard to improve herself as well as her teammates. She is well deserving of this award. And Mr. Atten, the principal, and Mrs. Jones, the assistant principal, state that Tara is a respectful, bright, and beautiful young lady. She approaches all matters with grace and persistence. She is a natural leader who represents Charles W. Lewis family well. Tara will undoubtedly leave a legendary mark on this world. What a wonderful thing to say. Tara, on behalf of the mayor and council, as well as our 4th legislative district and our county freeholders, I present you this award. Congratulations. Getting away that easy.
First and foremost, I'd like to thank God for bringing me here today, because I wouldn't be able to do anything without him. And I'd just like to thank everybody else who's helped me to come here and be at this point in my life right now, and to continue to push me forward and try my best for everything.
Good evening. I have the pleasure to honor Taylor Red. Taylor is a 7th grade student at Glen Landing Middle School, and she was selected this evening to be recognized because of her involvement in her school, her connection to the community, and her strength of character. Taylor was nominated by her mathematics her teacher, Mrs. Milichowski. Did I say that right? That is Taylor's math teacher. Taylor is a wonderful young lady. Her teachers describe her as polite, respectful, artistic, thorough, conscientious, and insightful. There is a quiet confidence about her, and although she may not be the loudest one in the crowd, her words are powerful. Taylor is aware of people and not just situations. She is a keen observer and a great listener. But to balance her serious side, Taylor also has a great sense of humor and a genuine, infectious laugh. Second, Taylor is very involved in her community, specifically at Bethel Christian Church. This year, as her mom explained to me, she cooked her first turkey all by herself and is very proud of her involvement at the church and for the Thanksgiving festivities they hold every year and volunteering her time there. She also has volunteered at the food bank by preparing boxes of items for needy families to take home, and she serves as a buddy for special needs kids, assisting them as they participate in their activities. Taylor shows great interest in assisting those less fortunate. She is sincere in her effort to improve the world around her. Finally, what we see daily at Glen Landing are her contributions to her school. She was inducted into the National Junior Honor Society this year. She is a member of the choir and the Renaissance Street team. Taylor has participated in pep rallies and other spirit events. She is respected by both her peers and staff members at Glen Landing. With her kind smile and commitment to be her best, she leads by example and exemplifies what it means to be a Glen Landing Lion. Congratulations, Taylor. Would you like to say a few words? I can tell you, I had the honor to talk to her mom this evening, and she was so proud of Taylor and just beaming with pride over the phone. So congratulations to on behalf of your mom.
It's really hard trying to find kindness in even the meanest of people, but sometimes you just have to put yourself out there and sometimes just go out of your comfort zone to even make the nastiest people your bestest friends.
Who did better pronouncing the name, me or that guy? As I'm sitting here tonight, looking out into the audience, and I had an opportunity to speak to this guy. May I call you Shayun? Yeah. Okay. And I see some other people in the audience, for instance, Shelly. I see you in the audience all the way back there. And then I'm thinking of Shayun, I'm thinking of Tara, his sister. And I see his parents. And it made me think, we're all born, I think, with a blank slate. And things are written on that slate, and we become who we are. I looked at Shayun, and I see his parents there, and I'm saying, there's something to it. They have 2 children here today. 2 of them. They're doing something right. Shelly's got amazing children. And there's something to this. So, to all of you, tell someone, it's us. We make the difference in our children's lives. And we can make sure that everybody has a chance to stand up here and get awards like Tara and Shayun. Now, Shayun is a pretty intense guy. I mean, I'm looking at his list of things, and it's off the hook. One of the things about him, though, is kind of special. We as parents don't trust other people with our children. But the school trusts Shayun with the younger kids in the school. He's a mentor for the freshmen. He's part of what, Teen Pep? And as a member of Teen Pep, it's my understanding that he's an educator with regard to abstinence. And if you're gonna do it, maybe thinking about doing it the right way. Let's leave it at that. And I'm impressed with that. He's the vice president of the Spanish Club. He's been on National Honor Society, junior and senior year, student council, 10th, 11th, and 12th. He's participated as a coach with the Highland Youth Soccer Stars. What is that again, my friend?
It's a program with James W. Logan Elementary School, in which we help autistic children with their motor skills and verbal skills and how to interact with other people.
Impressive stuff. This is an overachiever. He's interested in the sciences. Participated at the Rowan Medical Science Academy. What is that, my son?
Every Tuesday and Thursday we go over to Rowan, and so basically I signed up for an extra class. It's another seminar in which other medical professionals come in and they teach us about different medical careers and to help us figure out where we want to go in life.
Some of the leadership stuff, I've already mentioned vice president of the Spanish Club, elected as a delegate to Boys State. I mentioned the Teen Pep, member of the Mayor's Youth Alliance, or Youth Leadership Alliance, head of the Sports Committee and Student Council. Science Honor Society Junior Senior Year, English Honor Society Junior Senior Year, History Honor Society Junior Senior Year, Spanish Honor Society Junior Senior Year. People's Choice Grade 11, what was that?
The teacher selects you for just a student that they feel selfless about.
Principals List 9, 10, 11. Athlete of the Week, that's not in swimming because I know you're the Rock, right? What's that, tennis? Just read a little excerpt. This is from your principal. Shayoun has been an exemplary student at Highland. He's an extremely caring young man who is always polite, goes out of his way to make people feel important and welcome. Shayoun is president of National Honor Society, VP of Spanish Club, member of Student Council, Team Tennis. What's most intriguing about this young man is the work he does for the community. Shayoun volunteers with Special Olympics, Relay for Life, Highland Youth Soccer Stars, and participates in the Mayor's Youth Leadership Alliance. He also participated in Rowan Medical Science Academy 2 days a week. Now, this is not the most impressive thing, but I'll tell you, it's pretty amazing. 4.53 GPA. And if you think his competition in tennis is impressive, he competes in the classroom. He is 9th in your class. Right? Pretty impressive. Deserving of this award. You want to say something?
I'd like to excuse me for my raspy voice. I'm just getting over a cold. But as my little sister said, I'd like to thank God first and foremost for this opportunity. As Mr. Hutchinson mentioned, the fact that not only my little sister received this year, but my little brother also received this last year is a testament to what my parents have done for our family. It's a testament to I just want to say thank you, and that I'm blessed for this opportunity, and I'm really humble and grateful. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Our next recipient is the principal of Lauren Fleming Elementary School, Mr. Aaron Rose. Aaron, can you come up? Aaron was my nominee, and Aaron didn't know that. I don't like to tell people when I nominate them. I like to gather information and tell them someone else nominated them. But I had the pleasure. I work for the Gloucester Township School District as well, and this summer I was displaced. I had to be moved from my office at Lewis School to Lauren Fleming, so I had an opportunity to spend the summer with Aaron in his building. And I had an opportunity to know him better as a man and as a colleague, and I came away with a wonderful impression of the individual that he is. And tonight I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. He was born and raised in Atco, New Jersey. Graduated from Eastern High School. He is the son of 2 educators, a principal, and Dad was.
He went through his principalship, but then he retired.
That's okay, Dad. Okay. After he graduated from Eastern High School, he went to Lock Haven University in Lock Haven, Pennsylvania. He majored in education and also played soccer at the Division II level, and mighty well. In addition to that, after he graduated in 1992, so he's been an educator for 23 years. He looks pretty good for 60, doesn't he? Educator, I'm like marvel, 23 years. So straight out of college into the old Edgewood School District, Edgewood High School. He taught there until 2003, and he made his way to Gloucester Township. He made his way to Gloucester Township as the vice principal at Blackwood Elementary School. So the weekend before last, I was at Bob's Furniture on their first day of their opening endeavor, and I ran into, looking for a good deal, and I ran into a parent a parent that's at C.W. Lewis. Their child's an 8th grader, my son's an 8th grader, and they're both heading to Highland next year. We were talking about the schedules and lunch and for next year, but they were also remarking to me how when they came to this community from Philadelphia, their first individuals that they encountered, or people they encountered, were the staff at Blackwood Elementary School. He was the vice principal at the time. And they were a little bit apprehensive coming from the city, coming to the suburbs, but they said, I see this brother, I said, just like, saw this brother with his hair walking down the hallway. It's like, we're going to be okay here. And they were. So after he went to Blackwood Elementary, he went to Union Valley as vice principal from 2006 to 2012, and then he made his way to Lindenwold. He left. He went to Lindenwold. Oh yeah, exactly. He went to Lindenwold. But he came back within 8 months later and became the principal of Lauren Fleming Elementary School. So we're very happy to have him back. In that time, in the years that he spent here, he has immersed himself within the fabric of our educational community. To see him with students, interact with students, you know, sometimes he needs to show them a little love, and sometimes he needs to show them a little tough love. He's old school. He'll jump on the bus. If there's a problem on that bus, he jumps on that bus and rides that bus home with those kids to make sure that nothing's happening on that bus that shouldn't be happening. In addition to that, as I said, he has a wonderful rapport. He's amiable. But one of the things that I guess that I connected with him is for a while, he was a single father. I'm a single father, and we talked about the love of our boys and how important it was for us to make them responsible, accountable citizens in our community, and how it was incumbent upon us to raise our children right. And he has done that. He's remarried. Mary Ellen, his wife's here. They live in Monroe Township. Come back to Gloucester Township, you know. But I'm honored to give you this, and so on behalf of Mayor and Council, present to Aaron Rose for exemplary leadership, outstanding service, and dedication to people of Gloucester Township for Mayor and Council, February 2015. Congratulations, Aaron.
Thank you, Mr. Mercado. I'd like to thank also Mayor, the Town Council, and just everyone who's here today. This is an excellent program. It's nice to bring recognition to some people who deserve it. Some of the young people I heard come up here, the way you spoke was excellent. Hold your dreams closest to your heart. One of the reasons I went into education is as he said, I had two great role models. They're both here with me, my mom and dad. They've always shown me right and wrong. Plus, one of the reasons I went into education is I wanted to help others. You know, I love kids, wanted to help kids make good decisions, and I think that that's very rewarding for me on a daily basis. You know, getting to interact with the kids, even though I get on the bus, I get along with the kids very well, and I think I'm able to show them how to make good choices, and that's something I look forward to. So once again, I'd like to thank you for this opportunity. It's a pleasure being here, and as the person said before me, I'm humbled by this experience. Thank you.
We have a musical performance today, and I want to thank Pastor Johan Arnold, because I called him on, I believe, Wednesday, and I said we needed some musical entertainment. So next year, if anyone want to perform, contact me. But he is the pastor of New Beginnings Church, and today he's here with the Fellowship Choir. I'll let him tell you a little bit about his church and his choir.
Thank you. Thank you. Let me just first comment on the young people that are here. Besides being a pastor, which I love for the past 25 years, I'm also the chief of the Juvenile Detention Center in this township. I see the worst kids, some say in America. I don't believe that, right, Chief? I believe that we have the greatest kids coming out of Centerville, coming out of downtown, coming out of Lindenwold, coming out of Barrington. We serve those kids, and I'm excited tonight to see these young people come and represent not only black folk, but represent America. So God bless you. Yes. I happen to be married to the most wonderful woman in the world. She's right over there. Wave your hand, sweetheart. Amen. Thank you. All right. Okay. Number two, right? You got that, brother. I hear you. We want to sing, well, they're going to sing two songs for you today. In this blanket of America, interwoven in that blanket is gospel music. And the church is represented in black history. So they're going to come and sing two songs that hopefully will stir your heart. and bless you. God bless you. Have a good night.
I want to say good evening to everyone, and I'm going to be out of your way very quickly. We'll be done singing before midnight, I promise. I promise. I just want to share with you, we are called a fellowship experience. This is birthed out of my home, where the love of God starts in my home with my wife, my daughter. My son can't be here tonight, but it starts out of our home. I've been living in Gloucester for 25 years, and what God is doing in me and my family through the church is reaching out in the community. I live in this community, and I have this community at heart. So what we do is we use the gifts that God has given us as a family to share with our community, to every church, to every race, to every religion, to every people. The gospel music is not for black people. It's for all people. It's the message of God's love. And that's what this fellowship experience is all about. So we're going to sing just a short spurt of a couple of songs to share with you. And again, like I said, around 5 minutes to 11. Just joking. I don't have my son with me, so the computer is my drummer.
Come, let us adore Him, kneel down before Him, worship and adore Him. Come, let us adore Him, kneel down before Him, worship and adore Him. Emmanuel, 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 Emmanuel. We worship you.
We give another round of applause. They were absolutely amazing. I'd like to bring up Elena Swinton and Miss Petit. Can you join us, please? Alana is a senior at Highland High School. She was nominated by Miss Petit. The one thing that truly stuck out to me when I read her nomination was the first two sentences. Elena is a remarkable young woman. She has a way of brightening even the dullest of days with her smile and cheerful hello. That just tells you a lot about her right there. That's the first thing people think of when they think of her. Makes me kind of want to be around her. I know I have people I work with that are like that. You know, you see them and you just kind of smile. So that makes me just like her without even meeting her. So she's very, very busy. She maintains a 4.0 with 3 AP classes. She also attends the program at Rowan School of Osteopathic Medicine after school 2 days a week. She's in Highlands Prep Band, Indoor Percussion, Championship Jazz Band. She's a member of the National Honor Society, part of Student Council, part of the Chess Club, and Girls Tennis. She also volunteers her time at Cooper University, and she volunteers her time doing community service with Highlands Environmental Club, and she's the vice president of her National Honor Society. So that tells you a lot about her right there, just being able to manage all of those things. She also, in speaking to her, I learned that she would like to be a neurologic oncologist. That takes a special person right there. I know working in the medical field, I couldn't go anywhere near any of that stuff. So that tells you a lot about her right there. She also is involved in the SPKN. Say that again, what that is?
SPKN, it's a Special Kids and Parents Network. Actually, I wrote it out with Shane.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And we help assist kids with certain mental disabilities, just get out and have fun and get to know each other.
That's wonderful. That says a lot about her. I'm going to let Ms. Petit say something also. Good evening. Just relative to both Highland students that were recognized this evening, they are just two remarkable young men and women that have walked the halls of Highland High School, and there is no doubt that they're going to truly be missed next year as they're both seniors, but they're definitely role models of the Highland family, and I thank both their families for all that they have done. They're very supportive, and as you can tell, they've done an awesome job. So again, I thank both Alshun and Alana for all that they've done. Thank you.
Thank you for nominating for. Thank you for nominating me for this award, Ms. Petit. Thank you especially for running the school. No, not everyone is as great as me and Shane, but I'm so sorry I have to deal with that. But most importantly, I would love to thank my parents. They are the light of my life. They mean everything to me. They guide me spiritually and morally, and I have no idea what I would do without them. So thank you.
While Mr. Seiler is coming down, I wanted to say something about the group that just sang for you this evening. What you heard and what you felt is the backbone of why black people are successful. You heard hope, you heard joy, you heard a wonderful experience. You experienced something very wonderful, and I just wanted to thank the group again for coming and sharing with us. Lovely voices, beautiful people. You could see in their faces that they were enjoying giving us something to take home with us. And that's why you go to church on Sunday, and that's what helps you to believe. Thank you so much.
Good evening. My name is Sam Seiler. The next recipient is Brittany Martin. Would you come forward, please? Miss Robinson, would you also come up? We often hear about the bad things that the young children do in the community, and I don't think we get enough praise for the kids that do a good job. And it's always a pleasure to see the young children come here and receive the awards. Brittany is a senior at Timber Creek High School. She was nominated by her principal, Mrs. Robertson. She is a well-rounded student who strives for excellence in everything that she does. She is a member of the National Honor Society and is actively involved in the team prep and student council. Brittany is an outstanding member of the girls basketball team. She is a four-year varsity player and is on the verge of becoming the all-time leading scorer in school history. She will attend Quinnipiac university this fall on a full athletic basketball scholarship.
I just want to say that, you know, we bring in, you know, we're concerned with school climate, and we bring programs in for that, and, you know, but, you know, Brittany walks our halls and has for 4 years and is always upbeat. There's always a smile. She's always a can-do person, and she exemplifies everything that we want in students and for our school climate, because, you know, there's never been a day that I've seen her look down or look, you know, overwhelmed or pressured. And I know she takes really good coursework, and she could look that way, you know, even with her sports. She's like, you know, we expect so much from her all the time and get so much from her, and she's just a marvelous, wonderful person. So you're going to be really missed next year. It's going to be a tough thing to see her leave the halls of Timber Creek. So thank you for what you've done for us.
I just want to say one thing. As I was sitting back there, I was looking at the Timber Creek representatives, and what I noticed most foremost is the families that have been represented here tonight. The recurring theme since Mr. Hutchins has been up has been about family. And every one of these honorees have strong family values. For us at Timber Creek, hey, Brett, we're going to miss you, baby, but the Martin family has been like stalwarts throughout my whole time at Timber Creek. And I love y'all and appreciate y'all. Allen, Butler family, outstanding. Outstanding family. And we say the apple don't fall far from the tree. Well, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. One other thing we like to say, it takes a village to raise a child. Well, the Mott family has done that forever. You know, with older brothers and sisters and siblings that we've had come through Timber Creek. And all of you parents today, matter of fact, and every parent here, Brother Rose brought his parents here to celebrate tonight. What does that say? He's an old man. You know what I mean? And he wanted to make sure his parents was here to celebrate with me, because this is what makes these young men, young women, older women, who we are, who we special. I know for me personally, without my parents, I wouldn't be up here. So this is a great celebration, and it's very important in the culture we come from. We have strong family values, strong family background. So seriously, all the parents, would you please stand up? You know, please. I know this is Brittany's moment, but all of you parents.
I would first like to thank God and my parents for instilling such a strong work ethic in me, and I'd also like to thank my principals and the township for putting me in the position to receive this award tonight. Thank you.
It is my pleasure to introduce to you the next recipient, Joshua Mott. Joshua, would you join us, please? As Mr. Saunders has said, a lot of the families and a lot of the community is responsible for each and every one of these young people that are just amazing individuals. And it makes you proud, it makes you grateful for Gloucester Township and how we are We have such wonderful people living in this town, and this is just one of the many things that we do that shows Gloucester Township. I can't say enough about the school systems. I had 5 children and went through these schools, both in the elementary as well as the high schools, and I'm telling you, we have second to none people that are in those. Every one of the principals in all 3 high schools and vice principals and all the principals and vice principals in the grammar or elementary schools and middle schools are just wonderful people that are dedicated to our children. And I'm telling you, I had 5 of them and they all did well. And it was, part of it was what the standards we place, but a lot of it had to do with these fine individuals. So I think we need to thank the school system for all that they do. Joshua is a shining example of what a student can achieve in high school. He was nominated by Principal May Robinson and Vice Principal Robert Mowalski. Joshua is a senior at Timber Creek High School and one of our go-to students. He is completely immersed in the Timber Creek community. A National Honor Society member, Josh has a grade point average above 4.0. That is just great. He is the senior class president and active member in many organizations around the school. He helps run our pep rallies throughout the school year and exudes school spirit. The attributes and accomplishments that appear on Josh's resume are a testament to his commitment and interest. Joshua's character is impeccable, and his leadership qualities are displayed daily in many roles in which he avails himself. He's an outstanding student and an excellent candidate for this award. Joshua, it is my pleasure to give you the Black History Month Award. Mayor and Council, our legislative, our 4th legislative district, and our county freeholders. Congratulations.
I just want to relay a story about Josh. I had a teacher come to me and say, you know, I think I have a candidate for the Voice of Democracy contest. And before he said anything, I said, I think it was probably Josh Mott. And he said, yeah. And I'll tell you what, they gave Josh a topic to talk on, and he had to speak for 10 minutes. And that is no easy feat. And it's very rare and tough for us to find someone that can speak for 10 minutes very intelligently, stay on topic, and you know, represent Timber Creek in such a fine fashion. And Josh did that for us. And you know, it's just a talent that Josh has. It shows how intelligent he is. He does exude excellence and enthusiasm. And again, this is a senior that once he's not in our halls, every September we wait for certain students to come around the corner and they just don't, and you think, oh, you know, they're on to the next level. But so you will be missed, definitely. But thank you for all you've done for Timber Creek. It's awesome.
Mrs. Robinson said Josh can't talk for 10 minutes. I beg to differ. We had a Martin Luther King Assembly at Timber Creek this year, and Josh was asked to deliver the I Have a Dream speech. And when he finished the speech, the whole assembly, the whole student body just stood up and applauded us as if he was Martin Luther King Jr. himself, because he was so profound in how he made the delivery. And as Robinson said, you've had an impact on our programs, on our school. You surely will be missed, just as Justin was missed, you know, and your whole family, and thank you for everything you do.
First, I would like to thank God just for giving me the opportunity, but I'd also like to thank the district and the Gloucester Township Mayor and Council for giving me this award and giving me the opportunity. But I also really like to thank my family for guiding me, and I know I would not be here without you guys. So.
I just wanted to respond. It's been my honor to be on the Board of Education for Black Horse Pike Regional School District since 2009. And I'm so proud of every single student in this room. They all are wonderful children. If you go to the school, they welcome you. You feel like you're a part of things. And I don't know of a single student in this room that doesn't deserve to be here in many ways, not just academically, but because they're not only smart, but they're good citizens, and they do everything they can to be a part of our community. And so I just wanted to say, representing, and I would like to say I represent how the board feels. We love these children, we love these students, and we're very proud. I'm very proud of the families who give of their time and energy and come to the school and are a part of things. I don't think I've ever been to a basketball game where Mr. Martin was not there first. You know, and it's not just basketball, but in everything that we do, the parents really support us. If we didn't have the support of the parents in this district, we wouldn't be successful. So thank you to the parents, thank you to the students, and I know that other board members feel the same way I do. I just had to say that.
I'll be brief this time. This is truly my favorite night of the year as being a council member. But it's also a tough night because I have 4 children, and I have a college student, a senior in high school, freshman in high school, and an 8th grader. And it's tough because when I see the amazing things that these young people do, I go back home and I say, what did I do wrong? I mean, it just keeps getting tougher and tougher. So you know what's funny? I have athletes. My boys are athletes. I mean, it takes, you know what I mean. So I'm reading the next little excerpt about the young man, and it says, responsible, respected, dynamically involved. And I know he's a football player. And so I walk in, I've never met the individual. I walk in, I look around, I walk right up to him, and I said, you're Alan Butler, aren't you? And sure enough, it was Alan Butler. Now I hesitate to bring Alan up here because Alan makes me look bad. And I'm well aware of that, you know? I mean, this is a handsome guy. So you know, he's the kind of guy where you all can envision it. Something's going down in the high school, something's in the hallway. Alan looks like the kind of guy who steps right in the middle of things and stops it. He commands that type of respect. And that's what I envision. This is a 4.0 student. Not only is a 4.0 student, he's got a full ride to Bucknell University. You all don't know what Bucknell necessarily means. As a father of a senior in high school, it means over $60,000 a year. I mean, as his parent, if I were, I'd be like cutting you a check because that's pretty serious. So I'm going to read you a little bit about what's been said about Alan. It's with great pleasure and pride that we are writing this letter of recommendation on behalf of Alan. This very responsible, respected student is admired by his peers and our staff members. He's an excellent candidate for the Black History Month celebration sponsored by Gloucester Township Council. Alan's a senior role model in our school, a member of the National Honor Society. Alan has a GPA of 4.0, 4-year varsity athlete on the football team, and has excelled beyond expectations. He is a member of the Teen Pep, as we found out earlier, Student Council, and the Men's Leadership Program. You exude men's leadership, I got to tell you. He's also dynamically involved in many school activities and will be attending Bucknell University on a full scholarship. You really are a jewel for Gloucester Township. I mean that sincerely. Thank you.
Yes. And I have to say, I just happened today to be observing a teacher, and Alan was in the class, and he was working with 4 other students on a physics problem, and it was way over my head. And he's sitting there and he's talking to his group members about velocity of energy and all this stuff, and I'm like, just watching him interact and being into this little project they were doing, this lab, I'm just like, wow, like he came in as this little freshman and he's like commanding the place. It's amazing to watch someone come in and grow up before your eyes, and then achieve. We had signing day, and he signed with Bucknell, and it's just like, it's such a reward to watch that process happen. They come in as small children and leave as men, and we're going to miss you too. It's just like, we've got 3 of the most stellar people in this room for this award, and there's many more that we could have brought. This is a fabulous class, isn't it? It really is. So, congratulations, Alan.
Nothing else can really be said. Obviously, Alan represents Tim Creek in a positive manner. I'm fortunate enough to be very close with his father also. Tony, he's a fantastic leader, and we are just so proud of Alan and Brittany and Josh. You guys need to come to Timber Creek and see what happens over there, okay? Because I'll tell you right now, nobody does it better. I'll stick by that, so there I die. Nobody does it better.
First, I would like to thank God for giving me the ability to be up here, in front of everybody. Next, I'd like to thank Mr. Saunders, Ms. Robinson, Coach Fish back there, everybody, all the administrators that recognize the hard work that us students put in every day. Finally, I'd like to thank my parents, my family, for pushing me to always be the best person I can be the best at everything I can be, and always they implanted in my mind to put myself in a position where I can never be denied. So.
I'd like to call up Trey Allen Jackson and also Mr. Tro. And is Mrs. Orcutt? Trey was nominated by his math teacher, Mrs. Orcutt. Trey is a 6th grader at Mullen Middle School, and I had the honor tonight to honor both of the youngest recipients of the awards tonight, a 7th grader and a 6th grader. And they have big shoes to fill with all the juniors and seniors that have come before them. But I'm so impressed with their resumes, I guess you would say, so far, that I have no doubt that they will fill those shoes and even pass them, and I think their futures look awful bright. It is great pleasure that Trey Allen Jackson was considered for the 2015 Black History Month Honorees Award. He is an excellent student who always strives to achieve his best. Trey demonstrates leadership in the classroom. He focuses on his academics and completes all of his assignments. Then always goes above and beyond by completing challenge problems and packets that are given to him. He frequently offers his assistance and will help other students solve math problems in class. He is always eager to help others and kindly does so with a smile. Trey is also on the principal's list at Mullen Middle School. Congratulations. Trey is involved in school and community activities. He is a trumpet player. He runs track, football, plays football, and wrestles both, well, right now outside the school, but will be transitioning to play in school also. You enjoy being a part of the community and participating in various activities. You surround yourself with a virtuous crowd of friends. Your pleasant, kind, respectful manner makes you well liked by everyone. You are always helpful to teachers and your fellow students. Trey is a model student academically and socially. His teacher enjoys his eagerness to learn, kind mannerism, and fun sense of humor. He is a pleasure to have in the classroom and demonstrates leadership around him. Congratulations, Trey.
It's just a pleasure to be up here and to nominate you. I just enjoy, especially in 6th grade, because you get to see a 7th grade and 8th grade excel. And just congratulations to everybody.
I want to thank my teachers for pushing me and getting to where I am now, and my parents pushing me to be the best that I am now.
I also get to honor tonight Nanette Allen. Nanette was nominated by Mary Jo Dentino, a coworker and friend. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. has long been celebrated as one of the most influential voices in the American civil rights movement. On January 18th, many Americans honor Dr. King's legacy by committing to a day of service. Dr. King often said, "Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others?" When I heard about the outstanding African American citizen nomination, without hesitation, I immediately thought of Nanette Allen. She is an individual that is worthy of the outstanding African American citizen nomination, hands down. Nanette is a longtime resident of Gloucester Township. She resides in the township with her husband Tony and 2 daughters, Amanda and Alana. Nanette not only has a passion to volunteer on this day of service, but throughout the year. While her family and friends remain most important to her, she continuously shows her selflessness day in and day out. She makes her community a distinctive, attractive, and a prime place to live. Wherever she can lend a hand, she is there with no questions asked, doing over and above. She also volunteers in many places outside the community to make a positive impact. She is the type of person that will put her life on hold to help someone in need. She is the most warm-hearted, non-judgmental person I have met. She is such a giving person and is always thinking of others, whether she is lending her assistance with something, giving an ear to listen, giving someone a pick-me-up card, or just asking how you are doing. When my brother was battling to survive with leukemia, not a day went by that she didn't ask, "How is Sal doing?" She puts others before herself many of times and doesn't expect anything in return. She loves to serve others. She is a tireless volunteer for many causes, included but not limited to Vacation Bible School since 1994. Every summer, the neighborhood children would come for Bible lesson, activities, crafts, and snacks. She's also a volunteer at Camden County Health Services for the elderly. And once a month, she volunteers for prayer and reading of scripture and lesson. Nanette's most notable and most recent project was through her church. as the chairperson going to Atlantic City Mission with her church and fed the homeless for Thanksgiving. As you can see, she is a very caring and giving individual that has no limits on her volunteering. She is an awesome role model, and I am proud to know her. And that was the words of Mary Jo. Congratulations, Nina.
I am so proud of all the young people here today. I don't even know, words can never express. But what you have to remember is that somebody once told me, if you have a threefold cord, it's tough to break. And I've seen the families, I've seen the educators, and you have to throw God into that whole program. And if you put those three things together, we won't lose as many young people that we've been losing. And you have to get them when they're young. And she didn't say, but from 1994, me and my husband has been doing a vacation Bible school in our backyard, you know, and we get them this young, just to instill in them the love of God. And if we can get all families to let the children know that their love be above all things, when there'll be this young man, there'll be that young lady and that young man in the back. But it starts at home, giving our children the love, giving them the love of God, and then giving them to the community, and let the educators love them through education. So I just am honored to be here to hear these stories of these young people. No, I'm not a student, well over from being a student, but I love young people. And I just want to see them all succeed. Doesn't matter whether you're black, white, red, brown. It doesn't matter. But you have a special place in God's heart. And all I want to do is the will of God. Just to see our people move forward positively, because we have so much to offer this world. So I'm just proud of you. I accepted a award. I'm not good at accepting awards because it's nothing. It means nothing. But I do thank it, because it is an honor that the council and the mayor will see me fit to have an award tonight. But it is to you. I give you all kudos, to the families, the educators, and you students. Kudos.
Nathan McCann and Stanley Washington, who were part of our committee, could not be here today. So I'm going to select someone to help me out with this. Mr. Mott, since you're able to speak for 10 minutes straight, I need you to come up here for a second. It's okay. This year and the end of last year marked 50 years of two landmark legislations that were passed in our country. I'm going to read the first act, the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Few achievements have defined our national identity as distinctly or as powerfully as the passage of the Civil Rights Act. It transformed our understanding of justice, equality, and democracy, and advanced our long journey toward a more perfect union. It helped bring to an end to the Jim Crow era, banning discrimination in public places, prohibiting employment discrimination on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, or national origin, and providing a long-awaited enforcement mechanism for the integration of schools. A half-century later, we celebrate this landmark achievement and renew our commitment to building a freer, fairer, greater society. While laws cannot right every wrong, they possess an unmatched power to anchor lasting change. The Civil Rights Act threw open the door for legislation that strengthened voting rights and established fair housing standards for all Americans. 50 years later, we know our country works best when we accept our obligations to one another, embrace the belief that our destiny is shared, and draw strength from the bonds that hold together the most diverse nation on the earth.
The murder of voting rights activists in Philadelphia, Mississippi, gained national attention, along with numerous other acts of violence and terrorism. Finally, the unprovoked attack on March 7, 1965, by state troopers on peaceful marchers crossing the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, Alabama. Yeah. En route to the state capitol in Montgomery, persuaded the president and Congress to overcome Southern legislators' resistance to effective voting rights and voting rights legislation. President Johnson issued a call for a strong voting rights law, and hearings began soon thereafter on the bill that would become the Voting Rights Act. The Voting Rights Act of 1965 is a landmark piece of federal legislation in the United States that prohibits racial discrimination in voting. It was signed into law by President Lyndon B. Johnson during the height of the American Civil Rights Movement on August 6, 1965. And Congress later amended the act 5 times to expand its protections. The law made it illegal for Congress and state governments to pass voting laws based on race and has been described as the most effective civil rights law ever enacted. Among other provisions, the act prohibited discrimination through the use of poll taxes and the application of literacy tests to determine whether voters could take part in elections. Designed to enforce the voting rights guaranteed by the 14th and 15th Amendments to the United States Constitution, the act allowed for a mass enfranchisement of racial minorities throughout the country, especially in the South.
I'd like to bring up Tyra Renee Robinson. And Ms. Shepard, can you join us? Tyra went to Triton just before her junior year and made a seamless transition into the new school. She maintains good grades since her transfer there, and in addition to her commitment to academics, she got involved in a variety of activities, including the student trainer, which takes up a lot of time, and she does that when she's not participating in track and field and basketball. She also this year is the captain of the track and field team, and she participates in the sprints, the 400 and the 200, and going to start doing the jumping, right? Okay. Outside of school, she's involved in youth programs at Bethlehem Baptist Church, and then she also participates in Walking the Walk, which is a national program that, when I asked her to describe that to me, she said it breaks the barriers of different religious backgrounds. So that should tell you something about her, that she's getting involved in those kind of things at such a young age. She also, it says here, she epitomizes a great all-around young lady who's committed to her school, community, and church. She's also wants to go to college for advertising, and she's hoping to go to West Virginia University. So, a round of applause for her.
The one thing that I do want to add is I have come to know Tyra, and the one thing that I will say is Tyra is very passionate, especially if it is something that she believes in. She's definitely not afraid to speak her mind, but when she does so eloquently. So I think she is definitely a wonderful role model for our students at Triton, and I congratulate her on this award.
I want to thank Ms. Piccolo, my counselor, for nominating me for this award, for Gloucester Township for honoring me with this also. Definitely have to thank God because He's blessed me with such an amazing family, and they've instilled such good character into me, and they've paved the way and guided, and I'm guided, have guided me on the right path. And I want to congratulate everybody with an award because, I mean, in the society, the day we are in now, it's hard to be like people like us. I continue to be a great role model. Thank you.
Our next award recipient is Chanel Jordan. Chanel, come on up, please. Ms. Shepherd, would you like to come up? When I came in today and I saw who Chanel's father was, Winston Jordan. Winston was in my class. I teach a class at Canton County College, and he was in 2 of my classes. And one of the things that Winston Arch used to talk about to me after class was about his family and how talented his children were. He wasn't lying. Chanel is a senior at Triton High School. She was nominated by our guidance counselor, is it Maytag or Maytag? Okay. She has a 4.43 GPA. Is number 10 in her class of 323 students. Oh, she's the president of the National Honor Society. Member of the Key Club, member of Interact, member of SAD. She's a class officer for the class of 2015. She's a fantastic student athlete, as she is a part of the girls field hockey team, captain of the girls field hockey team. And she's also a tutor and mentor, and that's the thing that captured me when I read her biography. She volunteers her time, part of a group called the Coyote Quest, where she was honored as the Member of the Year for volunteers and mentoring youth in Camden City and in local areas. She's a Martin Luther King Service Award winner, a Good Citizenship Award winner. And upon graduation, she wants to pursue an advanced degree in psychology. Now, she's hedging her bets now which school she's going to go to, waiting for that best offer. But I can assure you, wherever she lands, she's going to be highly successful. A couple things that were in her bio that her guidance counselor said is that she's respected, she's admired, she's positive, caring, has a fantastic work ethic, and perseveres. So on behalf of Gloucester Township Mayor and Council, the 4th District Assembly, and also the Freeholder Gentech, please accept these on behalf of us. Congratulations.
I want to add 2 more things that I'd like to share about Chanel tonight. There were 2 things that stood out this year for me, and they exemplify her qualities of leadership that she also brings to Triton. We had our Challenge Day, which is one of the programs that help students break down the barriers and prevent some bullying and harassment that may occur in the high schools. And Chanel was not afraid to stand up and share her experiences as an African-American teenager growing up in our society. So she shared that without hesitation. I was very proud of her as standing up and being a role model for our students. And the second is, as president of NHS, our current NHS advisor has been out on maternity leave since October. And Chanel has we have another advisor in place that has taken that role, but really Chanel has been taking over all of the activities and kind of guiding the members through and really handling that. And I don't know if she knows that I know that or have noticed that, but I would like to thank her for that. And NHS has been very successful, mainly this year because of Chanel. So thank you. It's well deserving. You're truly a role model for our young ladies.
Stipend for that advisor.
I would like to thank my parents and my family. They've supported me through everything, and they made sure that they've made sure that I'm on the path that I am now, so I want to thank them for that. I want to thank all the teachers in my life, including Ms. Shepherd. She is a new principal to our school, and she has been doing an excellent job in making Triton a better place, and I attribute a lot of the success of Triton to her. So thank you very much. I just want to thank everyone here for bestowing this honor upon me, and I want to give a congratulations to all of the other recipients of this award. I would like to thank the people that told me that I would never be where I am today because of my race, or because of my gender, or because of how I speak. I'm up here accepting this award because of who I am today, and I want to thank you, and I'll see you 10 years from now when I'm President of the United States. Thank you.
Our next recipient is Theodore Liddell. Joanne, would you come forward? Theodore is also known as Teddy. You mind me calling you Teddy?
Yes.
Okay. Joanne is the person that nominated Teddy for this award. Teddy has an impressive record. He is a West Point graduate. Former U.S. Army captain, an attorney, and a politician. Haven't watched that. Teddy graduated from high school in the top 10 of his class of approximately 400 students. He was a member of the National Honor Society during his 4 years of high school. He was one of 6 students nationwide to receive the Marine Corps highest award for junior ROTC cadets, which was the Legion of Valor for the Cross of Achievement. Teddy earned an MBA degree from Columbia College and a JD degree from St. Louis University School of Law while working full-time. He also serves as a youth soccer coach here in the township. Teddy and his wife has lived in the township here for more than 4 years. Joanne?
I nominated Teddy, ironically listening today about all of the family and the parents and everything. That was the reason I nominated Teddy. In knowing him these past 4 years, working with him on his different campaigns, he is such a good example to his 5 children. And he is so interested and active and participates in his neighborhood, in his church, in his school. And I just remember him taking his children up to the volunteer park just to show them what it was all about. And he's just a good example, and his 5 children have the start that all of you out there have, and I'm appreciative to have him as my friend.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
One of Teddy's boys received an award during the Martin Luther King Day ceremony. And Teddy's wife also served in the United States military too. She's in the back. I'd like to present these awards to you from the Township Mayor and Council, the Freeholder, and also our State Assembly.
Thank you so much. Well, I just want to say thank you so much. I am so humbled to receive this award. First and foremost, I give honor to God. He is so great in our lives, and I just really appreciate him. Secondly, Joanne, you know, this is all because of you for nominating me, and I just really appreciate it. I'm just so humbled by it. Thirdly, I am just simply excited and astonished at the quality of young people that we have in our midst tonight. And I got to say one thing to the young people, if you're listening, and that is, you can do whatever you want to do in this life. Don't let your dreams escape you. The seeds of greatness that my parents put in me are still in me. It is what drives me. You can achieve your dreams. Never, ever give up. And lastly, I'd like to say that we stand on the shoulders of those who have come before us. We follow their example, and we walk in their footsteps. Let us never forget that our excellence has got to be what we carry on. That's what we owe them. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Ms. Shepherd, would you like to join me? It is my honor to introduce Aaron Bailey. You know, as I read over this passage that was given to us by Mrs. Paulette Cahoot, the school counselor, to glean out of it information about Aaron, I would be doing an injustice if I just pick things out, because it's so well written and it really discusses Aaron and describes his contribution to not only Triton High School but to our community. There's great confidence that I nominate Aaron Bailey as the Gloucester Township Black History Honoree. I met Aaron when he was a freshman in high school and has been his high school counselor throughout his high school experience. He's a very outgoing young man with a wonderful personality and sense of humor. He has the gift of making others feel comfortable in his presence, which has made him one of the leaders of his class. Aaron has worked hard and has consistently chosen challenging coursework. He is considering a career as a physical therapist, but is a very gifted basketball player and would like to be part of the team during college. Aaron does not allow obstacles to get in the way of his goals. This rigorous pursuit of excellence is evident in everything he does. When he aspires to something, he follows through with a high level of intensity and commitment. Aaron is an invaluable member of the varsity men's basketball team, receiving honors such as Most Valuable Player, and is recipient of multiple awards highlighting his talent and work ethic. He is also the team captain and has been a very strong leader who is respected by his teammates. I have no doubt that he can contribute positively to your university in both collegiate athletics and academics. Aaron works extremely hard to maintain his grades in some of the most demanding coursework offered at Triton Regional High School. He was selected for the induction into the National Honor Society because of his grades and community service undertakings. Aaron is always one of the first students to sign up to assist with various programs offered at the school, like the yearly blood drive and the Coaches vs. Cancer fundraising initiatives. He gives freely of his time and is motivated to improve the school and greater community. The qualities that stand out most when considering Aaron's character are his team-oriented commitment, enthusiasm, and strong desire to do well. He routinely invests extra time to his assignments in athletics until they are done correctly. Aaron is a trusted friend to a large number of his classmates, and he acts as a mentor to 9th grade students as part of the transition program where upperclassmen assist incoming 9th graders to become acclimated to the high school environment. So you can see all the key words here, that he's a hard worker, work ethic, gifted, leader, and that's what Aaron Bailey is to Triton High School and to our community. Congratulations.
I'm not quite sure there's much that I can add after that recommendation. I am going to add a little bit more of that. And I will start with this. I see Aaron probably a little bit more than some of the other students because he's also an office helper in the counseling office 8th period every day. So I see him then. But it's no secret that our basketball team has struggled, especially the last couple of years. I know that I have been there. But why I bring that up is because I think it speaks to Aaron's character and integrity. Because as a senior, he could have very easily, he could become frustrated, he could give up, he could, just kind of go through the motions. And there's not a day that goes by that Aaron has not given 150%. And he does it on and off the court. He has been a role model to some of the younger students, some of the freshmen coming up that may become frustrated and not want to put that work in because maybe the team is struggling or not. And what you do in sports sometimes is how you will be in life. So you are a true leader. You're a model, a role model to the younger men that are there, and I'm proud to have you. Sorry to lose you, but I know you'll be just as successful as everyone else in this room and everyone that has been honored tonight. Congratulate everybody as well as I.
I'm not a public speaker like that, but thank you to Gloucester Township, the mayor, my counselor, Ms. Shepherd, Triton, thank you, and thank you to God, first and foremost, definitely. Because without him, I wouldn't be here, definitely. And last but not least, my aunt. Losing my mom to cancer 10 years ago, and my dad wasn't really in my life like that. That woman right there, she kept me afloat among three children, me, my older brother, and my older sister. So I thank you, Auntie, and for everything you do for me. And sometimes we may not get along, but you keep me up there. You know, you keep me pushing. You know, give me tips on basketball. You know, keeping my head straight and just striving to be the best. And when I go to college, I'll take those things with me. So I appreciate you, and I love you. Thank
This is our last recipient of the evening. Before I start, this is also our largest class. We had 16 individuals being not honored today. And one thing about this process, it's a nomination process. You just don't get it because your name was submitted. The committee reviews it, and you're here because you're special. And I hope tonight that we made everyone feel special. I'd like to bring up Kiana Ford. Come on, Kiana. We got the same bow ties going on here, don't we? Kiana is a very entrepreneurial person. I had an opportunity to sit down and talk to her about some of her dreams and aspirations prior to our council meeting. And I'll tell you why she's entrepreneurial. A few years back, now back in the day when she was younger, she was involved in cheerleading. And when she came to Triton High School, she saw maybe cheerleading, what was there, was being offered, wasn't for her. So what she did is they challenged her and they said, well, if you want to start something, then you have to put the work in, put forth the effort. So she had to write a paper, had to get a petition, and she started a hip-hop club. And this hip-hop club, okay, incorporated not just the brothers and the sisters. It's anybody who wants to be involved in the hip-hop club. I asked to be in it. She said, kid and play doesn't work anymore. I showed her how to do the WAP. She's like, what? Nah. I asked her, what type of music do you like? Do you like the old school stuff? She brought up Biz Marquee, so I'm like, all right, 1985, 86, 87 stuff. But she showed that leadership quality by taking the song. In addition to that, well, she's the team, she created, and now she's the team captain. In addition to that, she also volunteers with the Pure Foundation. The Pure Foundation, they support Camden City students with family and support, community support. They work with middle school and high school students in helping them through the college application process, through college tours, to helping them fill out applications for college and scholarships, and also internships. She has been known to be creative, giving, and generally sweet. She plans to major in fashion. There you go. Her line's going to be better than Kanye, right? There you go. So she would like to attend FIT in New York, either Montclair State University or Moore College of Arts in Philadelphia. But in addition to that, she would also like to minor perhaps in business because if she can't work the runway, then she can own the runway. So she'll, there you go. So eventually, perhaps owning a boutique going for further in life. So on behalf of Mayor and Council, you were nominated by your guidance counselor, Mrs. Dorio. On behalf of Mayor and Council, the 4th Legislative District, and Freeholder Gentek, I present to you these awards. Congratulations. Michelle.
I want to add one thing. When the hip hop club was brought to my attention, if I'd have known her if I'd have known her better than I knew her then, I would have right away been on board 110%, because my biggest concern with the hip hop club was the outfits that they would wear. Was dress code's always been my thing. Okay, everybody that knows me knows that. So I was concerned about that. If I had known fashion was her thing at the time, I would not have had a concern. And I will say that what she has done with the hip hop club has been excellent. They had performed first at the pep rally this year, and it was tremendous. The whole school was into it. It got the gym going. It brought a life to the school that we didn't have at the pep rally. So I thank you for that. She's a wonderful young lady. She carries herself with poise down the halls of Triton. And again, she was last tonight, but definitely not least, and is an excellent role model for our other students. So I thank you again.
First, I want to thank the council for giving me this award, and then my school for noticing me, and my family for being here for me no matter what. Thank y'all.
I'm closing our ceremony. If Dr. Joyce can come up. I want to thank you, Dr. Joyce Ellis, and our committee. I asked that all the recipients please stay afterwards so we grab a picture of everyone here. I'll give you up in a second. Freeholder. Oh, you know what? Let's bring you up now. Freeholder Cantek would like to say a few words. She's at a higher level than me. I got to bring her up.
I thought he forgot about me.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. So first I want to say I feel like I'm home. Yay. This is where I started. I started on council. You are my council family, and I always like to come back, and you're doing such great things. So thank you for everything that you do. On behalf of the mayor, he did ask me to say tonight he's so sorry that he is not here, but he put his back out, and then he went out and shoveled. I told him not to, and he hurt himself really badly. So please, I know we're full of prayer tonight. Can you wish him lots of prayers and to get him back to health? He also wanted me to thank you, Orlando. You always put so much heart and 100% into everything that you do for all of these events. So he wanted me to make sure that that you know how appreciated you are. Thank you for everything. And to the committee, to Joyce and everyone else who is on the committee, thank you so much for everything that you do. We really appreciate it. It's just better and better every year. So thank you. I wish that the gospel singers did stay and were singing till 11, because boy, they were so good. So that was wonderful. Please have them back next year. So on behalf of the freeholders, it's really important for us that we are so proud that Camden County is such a diverse county, and that we embrace it, and that we have municipalities like Gloucester Township and the 37 other municipalities that you put on events like this. And because of events like this, it shows that we acknowledge that we are a diverse community, we embrace the community, and we want to show everyone what we are all about. That's why Camden County is such a great place to live, work, and play. So we thank all of you again for putting on this great event. And so on behalf of all of us, we thank you. It's been such a wonderful night. All of you are absolutely amazing. I do want to finish talking about prayers. You are so lucky that you have a family and that you have people who embrace you in your church. And today I did have to spend time talking about the homeless, and we are coming up with a Housing First program, which we are trying to get the homeless off the streets. But when you think of homeless, you don't think of families and children. And they're out there, and some of the children don't have families. They've been left. So I ask all of you, sometimes I get so frustrated because you just want to do so much, but you have taught me tonight, you know what we need to do? We need to just keep praying. And I bet with all of your prayers, we're going to be able to get all of them off the street. So I ask for your help just to pray for everyone. Thank you.
Good evening again, and I just want to thank Council and Orlando for holding this event year after year and acknowledging the wonderful contributions of our African American residents here in Gloucester Township. You are extraordinary people, and I say this because When I think about the African American culture, I think about your love for God. And that is actually displayed here time and time again. You kept hearing the young children saying, you know, I wouldn't be here without God, or thank you, God. And it is that love of God that you have that is so important in our American culture. And I just wanted to stress that and just express that, to say thank you so much for bringing that. You invoke the Lord's name with every breath that you take, every day in and day out. And you give this tapestry of what we know as the American society such hope and such faith. And I hope you understand how important you are as Americans to this great society. And I just want to thank you. And in the words of, I guess all of you and all the honorees generally do invoke the spirit of Martin Luther King, doing unto others, helping others, being in service of others. And that is actually also part of your legacy as a people and your history here in the United States. So I just want to thank you for that. And also, just God bless you, all of you, for all that you do every day. And to the recipients, God bless you. You're wonderful people. And for the children here, you're amazing, phenomenal individuals. And I am so excited to see what your journey is going to become, and what how amazing Americans you're going to be, and how you're going to change this world, and how you're going to create a better society, and how you're going to make this America much better than what we see it today. And I hope you do become the President of the United States. Please run for it. And if that is what is in your heart, and that is what is your dream, go for it. Absolutely. Because we do need young children and young people, I should say, to continue on with, with the spirit of what America is and should be. So good night, everybody, and thank you so much for this opportunity, and God bless you all.
That concludes our program. I do want to say I want to thank our school administrators. Puerto Ricans, we tend to yell things out. I'm going to yell something out. Presente. That means that they're always present. And I look around the room, and I got all three schools, high schools represented here. I have a middle school here represented here, and it's great to see you come here and support our students. So thank you for coming out this evening. God bless. Take care.
We're going to take a 10-minute recess.
Folks, if you can come up to the front to take pictures, please. Can we have all honorees up here to take pictures, please?
New Year, Merry Christmas, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, very nice. Ninth in his class, and he's got a 4.5. The ninth in his class, he's got a 4.5. He's number one. It's amazing,
nice, huh? I'm surviving. I'm home. I know how you doing. I didn't see you. How'd it go? Very well. Yeah. Together. It's in person. I hope we can still want to look bigger, right? I'm glad you told me. All I can do is fill in for time.
we're about the same size. He's a little slimmer than me.
I feel like he's my brother.
Yeah.
By the same mother. Oh, Courtney.
That was pretty
You know what I way home. You too. I didn't know it was at the police department, so I'm driving by, going back and forth, pulled up into the parking lot right
I went over to the scene because I came in and I didn't see anybody.
Yeah, but I finally came in. I'm so glad you gave me the cross streets.
And I went over to the senior center and I saw all the veterans over there.
Right.
Oh, I could be over here too.
Well, they looked like they were getting ready to award some trophies.
But I didn't see.
I was like, you can't be in the police station. How did you finally figure it out? Well, thankfully Cindy gave me the cross street. So I kept driving past it because I was like, well, that can't be it because those are police cars over there. So I kept going and I went all the way to the shop right or something. So I was all the way down there. Finally called her. I was like, this is ridiculous. I just went back and forth, back and forth.
You done good though. It's dark and everything. We got a little inside information. Oh, did you? Yeah, because we came over here to take these pictures.
Oh,
so that's how I knew where it was.
I'm glad I made it.
Yeah.
All right, well, have a good night. Mom, can you take a picture? Mom, can you take a picture? Sure. My phone is dying.
Okay. What do you want me to say?
Thank you.
Sounds good. Like it? Doing good all except for well, she's even doing good in English. Literary arts. She's only got a C there. She's got A's and B's and everything.
I'm keeping an eye on you running. If you're okay, you've been running against my son.
You're in middle school.
No.
So where do you? I have to get out there. I mean, I only got to see one out. I watched one on TV. Saw one. The weather's bad. All right. Yeah. Quite impressive.
My mom's person.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. What's your 1990? Okay. Oh, wow. Yeah, okay. Wow. So how long have you served in service?
I just retired in the bar.
Wow.
Right.
Wow. Awesome. See, a lot of people really like the academy. Yeah, so they want to know the same. It's awesome. Yeah. I've been involved with it. I remember you were last year. And I'm trying to look for my name. My name's Taylor. I ran for assembly. You look at my name and I'll be on it's good. It's good. I'm a lawyer. I work for how about you? I think my wife and I were
Often because life reminds me so much of high school. And I wish Rich was here. I mean, I know that's your husband, but I think about
So he was into this too. You know what I mean? And he would have been I miss it truly. And I'm just like, I'm just saying smiling down. Smiling down from heaven. My minister daughter, the minister, I used to babysit her dad, Reverend Bill Barry, and Tony. She North Carolina, but we raised her. Friends with her. And she nicest message that I know Mama Dolly, because Mama, she knew my mom.
I agree. Yeah, exactly. You're right. Well, it's nice talking to you. Congratulations. Wow. Thank you very proud. Thanks so much.
Congratulations. Oh, congratulations. She's ready to go. She's like, all right, we're done. Yeah. It was good to see you, Shella. Congratulations. Great work. Congratulations.
Grandpa was here to see you. You're so proud. I haven't. Cindy. I haven't.
We had to go to the viewing. You over there looking, huh?
Thank you. You too.
Monday's dinner. Thumbs up. So they're done. So I have one in there for tomorrow. First person goes, I have to take it out of the fridge. Wednesday I have nothing.
I got money. Have some change.
I said,
Good, huh?
You don't have
Sixth grade.
I had heard I didn't work my way up. I've been working on everybody asks, no one's going to
That's the way I always look at it. I always look at it as counsel for the county. Right. Thanks a lot, man. Ready?
This one,
like in a rotation, so different areas of the county, so that they're not always in one. Like this past meeting was at Camden Lodge, so that was like our local one, and then another one might be in I don't know, Belmont. Another one would be in Kansas City, and wherever. This way they rotate through so people can participate in the different areas.
I didn't know what they were.
I'm not sure. The rest of this one, it's a little late now.
I'll be that guy. You got it. You know what?
Particularly if you're in the back and not up there.
I know.
What's the other question?
was here. The meeting was over. We were still in shape. And that's when he said, you know what? Garcia, I'm looking for you, but I'm involved in something. But it was after the meeting was over.
You can finish, but when you're
Yeah,
crazy. Oh, okay.
You're always here. So
I know, I can't wait. You're not done with that. I know, better not.
we have time.
Come on.
Volunteer for things.
Congratulations to you. You're doing it right. Yeah.
I got you. I understand.
Next time I see you, be at prom or whatever's next.
We're not done. We're not done. The money won't. The money won't. The money won't. I can get one.
All right, y'all. Have a good night. Hey, handsome. Congratulations. You're welcome. What are you going to major in?
That's something I got to get families out.
No. Let's take care.
Congratulations, Mom. Congratulations, Mom. And I like the suit. We got the Vince, the white shirt.
Yeah, he's
There you go. Very nice.
You want me to find?
No, I couldn't make it.
I'm a senior. I'm like, I'm 42. I was a senior. When it snowed, I'm
right back
I got Netflix.
We keep doing this, you know?
But I was like, I saw it.
He's on that local track. We gotta go. Oh, they want to have a meeting. Oh, don't you? They don't know how to say goodbye.
Have a roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Present.
Mr. Schmidt?
Present.
Mr. Seiler?
Here.
Mrs. Strano? Here. Mrs. Winters? Here. Mr. Mercado?
Present.
Mr. Bianchini?
Present.
Mr. Lechner?
Here.
Chief Farrell?
Here.
Mr. Parliament?
Here.
Mr. Parks?
Here.
We'll have the first public portion. Anyone wishing to speak on any agenda items only, please raise your hand and come to the microphone. I would ask if it's on any ordinance, second hearing, that you wait for that ordinance for that public hearing, please. Seeing no hands, we close the first public portion. Bids?
Reconstruction of Fairfax Avenue and Hillcrest Avenue.
Motion to accept the bids? So moved.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Sir?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Seiler?
Yes.
Mrs. Prado? Yes. Mrs. Winters? Yes. Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. Banky?
Yes. We have ordinances of second reading. These ordinances will have a public hearing. Ordinance O-15-03. Ordinance of the Township of Gloucester, County of Camden, State of New Jersey, amending Ordinance O-03-03, land development as applies to Section 426 signs. This ordinance has been amended for various housekeeping, mainly housekeeping reasons for signs. Dave, anything to add?
Just I understand the planning board has reviewed it and has submitted a recommendation that it be adopted with changes. So we have that, we go forward with the public hearing.
Okay. Knowing that, we will now have a public hearing on this ordinance.
Hi, my name is Erin Simone. I'm with Malley and Associates, represent Atlantic Outdoor Advertising. I was here last time. I just had a question with regard to your sign ordinance. Can anyone answer the question as to why billboards were moved from the GI zone, but they were left in the BP zone? Like, why was the GI zone selected for removal of the billboard use?
Ken, can you answer that, please?
There's no easy answer to that question. We looked at the whole entirety of the ordinance. All the existing zones that it's in is business park, general, industrial, and highway commercial zone. And through the number of existing billboards, I think there's 9 existing billboards, 6 billboards have been approved. One of the billboards that has been approved is now has been constructed near Fold Road, and just for aesthetic reasons and other reasons, beautification of the township. We wanted to limit it to the business park zone.
Yeah, but why that zone and not the J? What's the difference between the zones that made the BP zone?
I answered it as best I could.
Okay. Okay. I would suggest that there really isn't a reason for limiting one versus the other, and quite frankly, if it's to limit the number, you already have a restriction that it can't be within 3,000 feet of any other billboard, so you pretty much have a kind of built-in limit as far as the number of billboards. And I would just request that you put the billboard use back in the GI zone. And I also wanted to mention our client has a particular billboard application we just submitted today. Is for block 4101 lot 4. That is in the GI zone. That is subject to the Glen Oaks redevelopment plan. And I wanted to mention that our client does have a DOT permit for a billboard use for that particular site. So the DOT has indicated it is an appropriate site for billboards. I just thought that that should be a factor in your consideration. And I also would suggest to you that because this is billboards, there is commercial speech, free speech consideration. You should be a little bit more careful with how you determine whether a billboard is permitted or not permitted, the location of it. And I also wanted to mention that your notice does not appear to meet the requirements of the statute. It is required to provide a summary or at least a concise statement of purpose, and all it really says is that you're amending the sign ordinance. It really doesn't give any more detail than that, and public notice of adoption of an ordinance is jurisdictional, so I would request that you not adopt the ordinance, at least in its current form as of today, please. Thank you.
Well, I just think the ordinance is properly before the board for amendment. The drafting and recommendations comes from the Community Development Department of Planning. Our planner, township planner, has drafted the recommendations from a planning point of view. The ordinance has been submitted to the planning board and properly reviewed at a public hearing before the planning board and adopted by the planning board. Once the planning board gives a recommendation for adoption, that comes back for council. Council then has the jurisdiction to go forward with the proposed amendment to the ordinance if everyone is in agreement with it. It's pretty concise revision to the ordinance, specifically in the sign area. We discussed it several meetings past. I would recommend that it's properly before council in its form for adoption, having met all the jurisdictional issues to bring it before the governing body.
So the councilor in front of us, her statement with the advertising and all that, you don't have any concerns with that?
No, I think it really didn't understand the issue, constitutional issue of freedom of speech. We're talking about billboards to be put up and from a planning point of view. I don't really want to debate the constitutional issue with you. I think we're talking about the structure of a billboard, not the content that goes on the billboard. I think the issue of the billboard is properly before the council for adoption.
I just want to clarify, the New Jersey courts have recognized billboards as containing commercial speech, which is protected under the First Amendment right of free speech. And while this is not a content-driven ordinance, it is subject to reasonable time, place, and manner restrictions, which is subject to constitutional scrutiny. And as a result of that, you do not necessarily get the presumption of validity you would ordinarily be entitled to with regard to regular ordinances. So that is my concern with that. And I just want to mention, and I mentioned it before, but I wanted to reiterate again that your redevelopment plan does say when there is an adoption or amendment to the redevelopment plan that has a material impact on a property owner in the redevelopment zone, you are not allowed to do it unless you have a written consent of the owner who is affected by it, and you really don't have that here. And our client has a lease with the property owner to put in this billboard, so it would materially affect their rights. So thank you.
But you were here last.
I was here last time, yes.
Making on the record that you represented the same client.
Yes, it is the same client, yes.
The client knew of this ordinance going forward.
I'm sorry?
Your client then obviously knew this ordinance intended to go forward.
The client knows that it is on the agenda for today, but like I said, your notice does not have the statutory mandated language in it, which makes it deficient, and being that it's a jurisdictional requirement that would prevent you from moving forward.
And your client was also aware of the opportunity to have a hearing before the planning board on their review.
And we were at the planning board, and we did mention that as well. I asked these same questions, and we did not get any better answer other than they wanted to limit the number of signs. And as I said before, the reason, or I think you have that goal accomplished by the 3,000 foot restriction. It really doesn't need to take it out entirely of its zone, which is really appropriate. I mean, it's an industrial zone. It's not like there's any conflict as far as uses go. So.
President, before we get to vote, may I ask the name of your client, please?
Atlantic Outdoor Advertising, LLC.
Your client has a lease with a property owner?
Yes.
What is the property owner's name?
Carlson, and his first name has escaped me.
Stanley?
Probably, yes.
Ma'am, can you give us your name again for the record?
Sure. My name is Erin Simone.
Thank you.
Nothing further.
Mr. President, I
to respond to
Sure.
I just wanted to put on the record that my department did receive an application, and after speaking with another associate with this law firm, I had advised that, in my opinion, and these past precedent, all applications in redevelopment areas required an application to you as redevelopment entity first before my department would accept an application, in the office. So at this time, I'm not sure of the status of this application that has been presented in my office today before this hearing tonight on the ordinance. I also disagree with the analysis of the redevelopment plan. The redevelopment plan just recognizes the underlying zoning of the for land use. We're not amending the redevelopment plan. We're amending the zoning ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
With regard to amendment to the redevelopment plan, by adopting the underlying zoning, that is what tells the property owner what they're allowed to build and what they're not allowed to build. And if you change the underlying zoning, you are changing what they're allowed to build under the plan. And that by default is an amendment to the redevelopment plan. So this is why we are suggesting to you that this adoption of this ordinance would be an amendment to the redevelopment plan, which would have an impact because Mr. Lackner indicated at the planning board meeting last time that it is his position that if it is not a permitted use, it is not something that can be granted with a variance from, and it would require an amendment to the redevelopment plan to put it back in. I don't know that that's necessarily what your redevelopment plan says, but being that that is his position, that if it's not a permitted use under your zoning, you have to amend the plan, I don't understand how it wouldn't be an amendment to the plan to remove that as a permitted use. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else on this ordinance? Here. Seeing no other hands, we'll close the public hearing. Motion to adopt. So moved. On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison? I have to abstain. I believe that I may have a conflict.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Seiler?
Yes.
Mrs. Strato?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters?
Yes.
Mr. Mikado?
Yes.
Mr. Bianchini?
Yes. Ordinance O-15-04. Ordinance amending Chapter 81, Section 31, entitled Speed Limits in the Code of the Township of Gloucester to establish speed limit reduction along Earl Road in the Township of Gloucester, County of Camden County, State of New Jersey. This ordinance will amend the speed limit from 45 miles an hour to 35 miles an hour on Earl Road from Blackwood Clementon Road to Little Gloucester Road. We'll now have a public hearing on this ordinance. Ray?
Community Council Ray Paul Dora Ariel. You've noted the start and end of that reduction speed limit. First question is why 10 miles an hour reduction and not 5?
Chief, you want to answer that?
It was recommended by by Remington and Vernick. They did the study and came to the conclusion of the recommendation. But I really can't say that.
To add to that, with the speed study done, the police department took a record of the actual speeds along the road, and when you're looking at changing the speed limits outside of the statutes that are in the state codes, you base it on the 85 percentile speed. 85% of the drivers along that stretch of road are moving at 33 miles an hour. So 35 miles an hour is a logical place to put the speed limit based on that 85 percentile. And that's a nationally recognized means of establishing speed limits.
My initial understanding of that, there were safety or accident issues with that. Is that still the case? Or is that just a result of the findings of Remington and Vernick? If not a safety issue, why not the reduction of 5 miles an hour? Because if I remember correctly, Mr. Seiler had also asked somewhat about increasing that from Little Gloucester Road all the way out to Cross Keys. I mean, it won't be long before our town is going to be a 35-mile-an-hour town, and that's it's.
Although this is a congested roadway, Ray. There was an accident there. This started to see if there were any warrants for a traffic signal at the intersection where the accident was. It doesn't meet the warrant for traffic signals. That's fairly obvious from the beginning. But as part of that, we did analysis of the speeds that people are traveling along there. And most people are driving less than 35 miles an hour. It is the national standards hitting that 85 percentile mark at 33 miles an hour, so we went a little higher, obviously, with 5-mile increments, and that's where the 35 miles came from. I think once you pass Little Gloucester Road at that intersection, it opens up a little bit more. I imagine, at least my experience, is up in the back, that the vehicles are traveling faster once you get past Little Gloucester Road. But that stretch here from Blackwood Clementon to Little Gloucester, that's a great stretch. People do tend to go slower there because it's a little more congested.
And the school area, I surely can understand. So it won't be the intention of council for the future to go any farther than that, as Mr. Seiler was indicating, all the way up to Cross Keys, because quite frankly, anywhere farther than Little Gloucester, and I remember when I moved to Gloucester Township, the realtor explained to me that the Gems landfill was a bird sanctuary. But there's nothing going on any farther than Little Gloucester Road, and if it is a safe corridor, I'd really like to see us be able to still travel at a reasonable and safe speed. And we're getting a consistency where enough roads are going to be reduced in speed where you start in one area and stop. Around the schools is certainly understandable. Let's not slow down the progress. We built a new ramp at College Drive to get on 42 and other avenues to getting in and out of Gloucester Township in a timely fashion, yet safe. Just don't want to see us go any farther, because I don't know how many of you folks have been down the southern end of town. It's not too bad. There are certain intersections, but other than that, let's not slow the whole town down if it's not warranted.
I think, Ray, our council is concerned about safety. When these things come in front of us, we have the police involved. We also, obviously, engineering has to be involved, and so we always take safety as the leader in making sure that we keep the town safe.
Will do. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing no other hands, we close the public hearing. Motion to adopt. On the question, roll call, please.
Yes. Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Seiler?
Yes.
Mrs. Strada?
Yes.
Mrs. Reynolds? Yes. Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. Van Heek?
Yes. Ordinance of second reading, ordinance O-15-05. Calendar year 2015 ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank. As the title states, this will allow the township to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and establish a cap bank. Tom, anything to add to that?
Allows you to go from the 2% recommended by the state of New Jersey to 3.5%. It is strictly for the appropriations. Without this ordinance, you are not permitted to bank cap, and that's the big plus as far as my perspective on this thing. You still are subject to the 2% levy cap.
Thanks, Tom. Now have a public hearing on this ordinance. Joanne?
Joanne Carr, Timber Birch. I remember the last time we were here, they questioned the reason for having it, and Tom had said snow removal, you don't know what the prices will be, and I mean, that's a really good reason. I like that. My question with it is, once the year is over, you know what your expenses are, why does it get carried over for several years? Why do you bank it for 2 and 3 and 4 years? Use it or lose it?
Why not retain the flexibility?
And
Well,
it's not banked for more than 2 years. It's a 2-year bank period, and that's again, statutorily, that the state has governed it. This is the way that it's going to be handled.
Well, but my question is, you're putting the budget out for this year, and there are variables that you can't know what it's going to cost. So you have your bank. At the end of the year, you know what you spent. You know what you've incurred. You use it for that. Why does it have to be carried over another year if that's not being used for this year's budget?
It's an accounting function. It is primarily for the auditor in terms of the calculation, and it's recognized also by the state. Each year the state certifies the cap, the appropriation cap, and when they do that, they include on that certification the prior 2-year cap bank. And so it's just a calculated number. We're not mechanically doing anything with any monies left over. If there's monies left over at the end of the fiscal year, the calendar year that we're in, those monies go to a reserve, because if you think about it, you're still paying utility bills in the following January, you're still paying your landfill tipping fees, other fees. So those run another 12-month cycle. It's called the reserves. And then once they run that reserve cycle, that other 12-year cycle, or a total of 24 months, then it goes to surplus.
Okay, so you're only holding it for 2 years, but then each year it's like 2 years from here and then 2 years from here. So
that's the method of accounting for the state of New Jersey.
Because I know last year when we had our increase in our taxes, it was like 7 or 8% because you held.
That's a different bank. That's a levy bank. That's not the appropriation.
That's not the budget bank.
No, they're mutually exclusive.
My mistake.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. I need the education.
You're correct. There are 2 banks. One that we can create with the appropriations, which we're doing tonight. The other is automatic, and that's figured out by the state, and that has to do with the levy. And that's not calculated by us. That's not controlled by us. That's just automatic in terms of how the state treats the budget process.
Trying to hold on to my monies. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? See no other hands, we close the public hearing. Motion to adopt.
So moved.
On the question? Roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Seiler?
Yes.
Mrs. Trotta?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
Yes. We now have resolutions of consent agenda. Any council person wanting to remove any of these resolutions, please let me know now. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second?
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Seiler?
Yes.
Mrs. Trotta?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. Beek?
Yes.
Resolution 83, resolution amending resolution R 15:02-010, entitled Resolution Appointing Members to the Blackwood Lake Advisory Committee.
We skipped resolution 82, so we'll come back to that one. Resolution 83, that is the resolution amending resolution R 15:02-10, resolution appointing members to Blackwood Lake Advisory Committee, and we would like to appoint Pasquale Cherokee, Tanya Hoakley, Walt Ellis, Stephanie Roberts, Douglas Mulholland to 2-year terms. Motion to.
So moved.
Second?
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Seiler?
Yes.
Mrs. Trotta?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. Beek?
Yes.
Resolution accepting security of C keys and authorizing execution of agreement and acceptance of letter of credit of First Trust.
Mr. President, before there's a motion and a second, I'd like to explain to council that the first letter of credit that came in from First Trust as a letter of credit council approval. There's a certain standard form that has to be accepted. I communicated with the representatives of First Trust that the draft of their letter of credit did not meet the criteria accepted by this council. They spoke to me late this afternoon and they indicated they will make the changes that I requested, the local bank and the dollar amount put into the letter of credit. Now, I don't believe they indicated to the clerk's office that that was being transmitted as I requested. So I would ask that the council makes a motion to approve this letter of credit as attached. It has to be amended to my satisfaction to meet the criteria of the local bank, the New Jersey bank, the bank that this letter of credit they were saying how to be presented in Pennsylvania. We always consistently required to be presented in the New Jersey bank. And it was a blank as to the amount of the letter of credit, the dollar amount filled in. They thought that's because they had a right to allow draws on it, but that really requires council consent when we use the letter of credit. They agreed to make those changes. They didn't get the form in yet, so if you're going to approve it, it should be approved with my review.
And Dave, how would that council know that that review was appropriate?
The clerk will be instructed that I have to sign off on it. And it's just as simple. They want to change it to their branch bank in New Jersey, and they do have a branch bank locally in New Jersey, and they have to amend it by putting in the dollar amount of the letter of credit. So it's a simple amendment.
Any questions for our solicitor on this? Seeing none, I have a motion to approve Resolution 82.
I recommend approval with changes that the solicitor recommended.
I'll second that.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Seiler?
Yes.
Mrs. Strato?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters? Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. Bianchi?
Yes.
Resolution 84, resolution authorizing the execution and delivery of agreement between Township of Gloucester and the Gloucester Township Superior Officers.
This resolution will authorize the execution and agreement between the township and the Gloucester Township Superior Officers. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Seiler?
Yes.
Mrs. Strato?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters? Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. Bianchi?
Yes.
Resolution 85, resolution authorizing execution and delivery of agreement between the Township of Gloucester and GTPA Patrol Officers.
This resolution authorizes the execution and agreement between the Township of Gloucester and the Gloucester Township Police Patrol Officer Unit. Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second?
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Seiler?
Yes.
Mrs. Strato?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters? Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Mr. Bianchi?
Yes. Now we do not have any GTE Gov access questions. We now have the second public portion in which to speak on any item. Please raise your hand and come to the microphone. Pete?
Pete Heinbaum, Morningstar Court, Sicklerville. Follow up to last meeting, I brought up some what I perceived to be irregularities in the GTMUA. And Mr. President, you mentioned that there would be some kind of investigation, possible investigation, or some questions asked, or some processes reviewed. What has occurred since in the last 2 weeks since our last meeting?
If you remember, Pete, I at the actual workshop and then at that meeting, I asked our solicitor to reach out and talk to the solicitor of the MUA and to inquire about some of the issues that we were concerned about. And Mr. Parlier has sent a letter to the MUA, to Howard Long, the solicitor for the MUA, requesting 7 different items. And Mr. Parlier, if you will address that.
Yeah, after the meeting, I spoke with Howard Long direct. I told him what the instructions were at our public meeting, and that I would be drafting a letter making a request. I sent that letter out to Mr. Long. He has responded verbally to the letter, but he has the 7 items A through G that I've requested. They deal with resolutions and RFQs and vouchers and appointments and procedurally things that are required under the procurement statute in New Jersey. He indicated they were complying. He was gathering up the information, and he will be sending them direct to my office for be sent to the council.
So you asked questions, just sort of general procedures, not specific instances, or just generally the procedures.
Well, initially I asked for a copy of the initial resolution of appointment pursuant to the procurement statutes, and I cited them. Copy of billings and vouchers from Mr. Zangi and Strategic Management related to the initial appointment. I asked him for a copy of the RFP for computer software consultant, because I understand they also followed up with a search for a consultant. I asked that he provide copies of the response to the RFP. I asked for a copy of the letter transmittal or email transmittal to GTMUA board members and or GTMUA administrative personnel from the responding bidder, if there's been any communication from the responding bidder to the individuals. I asked for a copy of the resolution of appointment of Mr. Zangi and or Strategic Data Management pursuant to the RFP. Copy of billings, invoices, vouchers for payment to Mr. Zangi or Strategic, and copy of progress reports and completion report filed by Mr. Zangi or Strategic Management Solutions.
So you haven't been provided that yet?
I have not received it.
Verbally, you've received a response that they're in compliance with everything?
No, I received the response that he was gathering up all that information. The responses, the vouchers, the billings, the resolutions, the appointments, and he will be forwarding them direct to me.
That shouldn't take long because they had to put that together for me. In fact, I had that in a nice bundled package, so it should have taken maybe 15 minutes if they really wanted to get it right to you. So they haven't said if they're in compliance. I thought one of the things you said initially was verbally you had a response that the processes were in compliance.
No, I said he would comply with my request.
Oh, okay.
I misstated that. That's what I meant. He contacted me after he received it, after I communicated with him also, that he has my transmittal and that he will comply with my request.
Okay. I attended the reorg meeting and saw everything that happened. Saw when Mr. Long was reappointed. I saw the pats on the backs and the handshakes and the hugs. So I don't know how valid I would consider this investigation, given that. And if you want to take it further, I think someone who sees it from a distance, like myself, but pays attention to everything, doesn't even see too much a difference between this body and the GTMUA board. All the beyond just the fact that this body appoints the GTMUA board, beyond that, the members of that board are PAC officers, are recipients of PAC money, and connected in other ways that are very tangible and can't be denied. So someone like me has a hard time seeing this body, that board, our solicitor, and the board, and the GTMUA solicitor as separate entities in a real sense, in a technical sense, in a legal sense. I see that. I mean, you're going to say that's the case, but someone who observes all the connections, all the money, follow the money trail, it's hard for someone like me to even separate this body from that body, this solicitor from that solicitor, and accomplish what I would call a meaningful investigation.
Before you, with all due respect,
yes,
before you cast that inference to me personally or this governing body, you brought a request at last meeting. Council President and council members gave me a direction. I will do my job. I will receive information and I will review it and analyze it, and wherever that leads me will be my comments to this governing body. So before you pass judgment on my integrity or integrity of this body, I will do my job and review the documentation and any other documents that I deem necessary after I get this package. You might have the package, but I don't.
Have you been given a time frame when you expect to receive this package? I can send it to you when I get home if you want it sooner than later. If you don't want to wait any longer for a solicitor or a board to
Whatever you have, I will welcome to review it and deliver it to the clerk's office. I'll retrieve it from the clerk's office. I would anticipate from my communication with Mr. Long that I should have it this week.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Pete. Ray?
Good evening again, Councilor Polder. Area, I'll be brief because I know everybody wants to get home. First question is probably from the way back. Some time ago, before council, we had a discussion with the engineering firm. There were some improvements to be done with Lake Renee, and that went by the wayside. Unfortunately, it was the DEP, it seems it was the DEP that halted the work at Lake Renee. Since then, I've been trying to get some answers from the DEP regarding what exactly this was. It was a gentleman that was handling lakes and waterways. There was another lady that they passed it off to. They wouldn't give me her name. It was a leave of absence. And I don't know how long a leave of absence lasts for, but I think we're going on about a year. I was wondering if maybe the township could utilize the services of Remington Vernick to find out what was it that the DEP shut down the project. I guess it was the rear dredging of where all the silt was building up back there for flow of Lake Renee. Because if you recall, there was a woman that had been diagnosed with Legionnaire's disease at I think the northern end of the lake, and the Legionella levels were being checked in that Lake Renee for that reason. Not saying that there was an association between the woman's contraction of Legionnaire's or not, but so far we have not gotten anything back from the DEP or answers from the DEP, or as I spoke with Mr. Cantwell on this, that was the reason for it. But the DEP just has not really given any information specifically why that work was not done, other than the fact that it didn't pass the muster.
Update on that?
It's not quite. I know you've been watching from the outside here, Ray. The DEP could not give the township any assurances regarding the Legionella bacteria in the lake, whether or not it could cause an issue with anybody, whether or not it could be done without. They simply wouldn't address that issue. And the township did not feel, since it became such an issue, everybody's aware of it, the township did not feel comfortable proceeding with the project without some assurance from DEP either on how to handle Legionella, or that the Legionella is not a health hazard to anybody on the perimeter of it. They just would not, simply they did not feel that they could answer that. And so that's why the project stopped, because nobody could deal or come to a conclusion on how to deal with the Legionella, which, as you know, became a big issue with that lake at one time, and that's essentially what killed it.
Okay, well, that being the case, with work in other lakes within the township, Blackwood Lake or what have you, most lakes will contain some levels of Legionella. It was just to say that Lake Renee had a high amount of Legionella that other lakes did not. Again, the DEP is not very forthcoming with the information coming back. Can we ask the DEP for what is... We're going to have a thaw, and the water's going to begin the spores will begin to blossom in that lake, and the neighbors' concerns about Lake Renee once again are going to go with no answers. Is there a way we can give the residents of the lake the answers as to why it was shut down, and are the levels too high? Because they don't know anything, and most have been calling for well over a year, for just about a year.
Sounds to me like we were going to do a project, and correct me if I'm wrong, we were going to do a project, and there became a lot of concern about Legionella in this particular lake, expressed by a resident, yourself, and other people. Well, absent someone telling us that there isn't going to be a problem, the township says, not going to do anything. Other projects with other lakes, there's never been any expression from the public about the similar concerns that you've expressed. So I think that's your answer, right?
So what's the level of Legionella in the lake?
No, I don't the answer is
They raised a concern.
that's
The
it.
concerns were answered. The project got shut down.
Well, no, you infused that. The concerns were not answered. There was no expression from the DPA or the DEP. I'm sorry, DEP. That they're not going to go on the hook and say there's no problem. So we couldn't get any assurances.
After several attempts to get them to.
So Ray, that's it. Had the people on Lake Renee never said a word, had you never said a word, the project gets done. That's the way I'm interpreting the situation.
The difference between any other lake in the township is there's no one else that we know of on Blackwood Lake or any other lakes in the area that had someone that contracted Legionnaire's disease.
So maybe your concerns, maybe their concerns had some validity. Who knows? We don't know.
Well, to be honest with you, there's never been a correlation between the lake and this lady contracting Legionnaires.
Says who?
Has there?
Says who?
I'm asking you.
That's the answer that the people are looking for. That's the answer that we'd like either Remington and Byrne or DEP to respond to the people of Lake Renee.
So at this point, we do not have an answer. So at this point, the best thing is not to disturb the lake, to cause the droplets to get into the air, which is how you get Legionnaires.
Right.
And, you know.
Are there other concerns? What was the level of Legionnaire? Again, they're looking for an answer before, the water's still going to move. In heavy rains, it runs down into the Timber Creek, into the streams into the Timber Creek. Is there a concern that people should, all they're looking for is an answer. What's the levels, and is that the reason it got shut down?
No, your expression of the concern is what shut it down. That's what it sounds like to me. I could be wrong.
Well, the fact that there's no one stepping up from DEP making a statement saying you don't have to worry about it. There's so many parts per million or however they do it.
That's about right.
They haven't done that, and they haven't told us that it's safe. So we haven't. Now, usually when there's a thaw, and I'm not an infectious disease expert, but usually when there's a thaw and you have excessive fluid, that dilutes the parts per million, and usually that becomes a better situation. But I can't sit here and say that's what happens here, or even if that is an issue.
And it takes time as the water's warm and the growth comes from within. It's just about an answer. Okay, so the project won't happen. That's one thing. But what was the answer? What was the findings of the DEP? The people of the lake, and I'm one of them.
Did they do any?
I'm not aware of anybody doing an actual sampling, or DEP doing a sampling of the lake to determine the parts per million of Legionella bacteria.
My understanding is that the DEP had tested there. That's what they had said back a year ago.
Can you find out?
I'll try to find out, yes.
And I would ask that we get that answer as soon as possible, if not by the workshop, what you find out or don't find out. Okay, and that's fine, John. I'm probably asking you
test to that.
Here, but if you can get to us one way or the other as soon as you get an answer.
Okay.
But I would reach back out to them so we have something to work with.
Thank you. The other question is the stalemate between our governing body and the Gloucester Township School for the protection with the police department. The amount that they were subjected to and the amount that they paid. Has there been a resolution to that? Has the Gloucester Township School Board stepped up to find that difference between what they're offering and what they were billed for the services by the township?
Tom, do you have any update?
The answer is no. No, there has been no resolution.
What action will the township take if they continue to ignore it?
I can't really guess about that. I don't know what action we're going to take. There was an agreement that they sent that was amended to change the amount requested from $300,000 to the $240,000. We did not execute that agreement. We did receive the $240,000.
What is the next course of action by the township to the school board? I mean, Joanne has asked on several occasions about having a liaison or an observer from council in here to see what goes on. It's listening to that conversation.
Ray, that's going to make a difference.
It'll give you Do you know exactly what they're doing? What they're
playing politics. That's what's happening. Okay, they had a bill. They're supposed to pay the bill, and what they're saying is, we're going to pay you what we want to pay you. Okay, that's what's happening, and what they're going to do is they're going to put us in a situation where governmentally we have to do what we have to do in terms of, can we put police officers in their schools? Shame on them. Shame on them.
It may have sounded like a joke when I said this back in December, but if a resident had got a bill from any one of the entities, even the MUA, and only paid a portion of it, there'd be a pink slip mailed to them, and that debt would be up for tax sale. And I'm not quite sure what makes a different entity in this township any special that doesn't pay their bills or pay the full bill.
I don't know, but if I were a parent in this town, I would go to that school board meeting and I would make sure they know that they can't play with our children's lives.
The school board meetings have become more colorful than the council meetings as of late, and I can assure you of that. The last thing I want to say is I've been to the last several years at some of these meetings, and every year we present the kids and some people with some pretty outstanding awards for pretty outstanding achievement. What I think was a little more special tonight is, I mean, I was wowed by these kids, but what wowed me especially is that they had no problem in thanking their creator here at a public meeting. And again, the praise for us having a prayer before the meeting, but an outstanding job by the parents of these kids. And it does make our future look bright a lot of times when they not only accept the award, but they thank their parents and they thank God for that award. It was a very good evening for our township. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. Sean?
Sean Grannon, President of Gloucester Township Superior Officers Association. I'd just like to take a moment to thank you for approving the resolutions, executing our agreements. A lot of towns and a lot of police departments don't enjoy the same support that the Gloucester Township Police does from their elected leaders. We do our best to make sure that the citizens of the township are protected, and I know that Mr. Cardis and the mayor do their best to make sure that the funds of the taxpayers are protected as well. Nobody gets everything out of the agreement, and every few years we have to come and beat each other up, but when we do it in a respectful manner, you know, we have a good outcome, and I think we did in this case as well. So I just wanted to thank you folks for your continued support of the police department from our standpoint. Thank you.
Sean, we have the easy job. You guys have the tough job, so we thank you and your members for your service to us.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing no other hands? Laura? You're 2 inches away from getting...
Laura Power, Blackwood. I just wanted to come up and publicly thank the chief, the police department. We, as you all know, we had a pretty serious incident, and it was a crisis situation for the seniors at the campus. And reflecting back, I can't even fathom how phenomenal the police department was in evacuating and complex people, you know, in wheelchairs and facilitating all day and all evening long. They went above and beyond anything that we could comprehend as their job, and reflecting into emergency situations and always being afraid and saying, I'm glad that doesn't happen to me, and then it does. I'm sure glad we have Gloucester Township Police Department and fire and emergency management and the support system that we have around the surrounding communities that came, the canteens. It was really heart-wrenching, and I just thank you. And please pass that to your officers. Thank you.
did a great job in there. So thank you, Chief, and all the emergency management. Anyone else? Seeing no other hands, we'll close the second public portion. Polling of directors and council, please.
Mr. Lackner?
I'd just like to also state that for that event, my department was also there most of the day. I think the chief would vouch for that. Jim Gallagher in particularly went with all the contractors, was instrumental in making sure the water was connected properly, and just wanted to recognize my department for their role.
And please thank him for us too, Ken. Thank you very much.
Chief Earl?
Nothing to report, thank you.
Mr. Parliament?
Nothing to report.
Mr. Cardis?
I just want to commend the Public Works Department. I think they did an excellent job with the recent snowstorm and the past couple that we've experienced.
Mr. Hutchison?
Briefly, wanted to recognize all of the talented individuals who came this evening. They're amazing people, gifted people, and I'm proud to say that they are from Gloucester Township. I also want to, as I'm listening to the celebration this evening, it reminded me of some time I spent this past year reading the Constitution, the cases. Actually, it's a common law book that I have, constitutional law, and it reminded me of why we have to be ever vigilant and remember what took place in this country's history. These segregation cases, we try to segregate the white youth from the African American youth. And it went so far as to, when the Supreme Court said that you could not segregate, they required integration. Some white legislators voted to close the white public schools and instead have private schools. We can never forget that. We're not too far from that, and today is truly a celebration and a step forward.
Mr. Schmidt?
I'd like to thank everyone for coming out this evening and thank you for your comments. Congratulations to tonight's honorees. I would also like to thank Orlando Mercado for coordinating the evening, and also to our Public Works for their abilities during our snow, and Mr. Cardis for being on the front line and actually driving in the plow truck. Thank you for getting out there, Tom.
Mr. Seiler?
Yes, I would like to congratulate the award recipients this evening. Last week, Tracy, Michelle, and I, we attended a ceremony at the Earl VFW Awards for the kids that they prepared essays, and they had students similar to what you saw here tonight. It seemed like these were the cream of the crop of the students that we have in our different schools. I think they get better and better each year. Thank you.
Mrs. Trotta?
I would also like to congratulate the award recipients this evening, and as Sam said last week, for the services that we attended. It really is some outstanding students that we have in the township, and to echo Frank's sentiments on the others.
Mrs. Winters?
Yeah, I don't want to repeat everything that you said, but thank you for doing such a great job tonight, Orlando. It is nice to see all the students in the township that are stepping up and just shining. You know, to know they're coming from our neighborhood is just an amazing thing to see where they're going to go in their future, both tonight and the other evening, see another award ceremony. So thank you, be safe and be warm.
Mr. Mercado?
I want to thank everyone for coming out this evening. Something I was remiss in saying, I believe we started celebrating Black History Month in 2003, and that was led by our council president, Glenn Bianchini. And we've continued having these award ceremonies to also honor women in our town and also Latinos during Hispanic Heritage Month. And I think when we listen to the stories that the individuals that are honored here, one thing I wrote down and I didn't say is that regardless of where we come from or how we look, we all want the same things. We all want the same things. Good education, our children to thrive, a roof over our head, opportunities. And that's something I think that was prevalent tonight in the theme of everyone's acceptance of remarks. So thank you for coming out this evening. Next month we have Women's History Month, so if you have any nominations, get them in by the 12th of March. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to thank all the residents for attending tonight's meeting. Thank you to Orlando for his coordination, continued coordination of these programs, and it's very, very important to our township. It's proud moments that we can recognize great individuals of our township. Each year it just keeps amazing me on how these young individuals are striving. The young man who thanked his aunt because he lost his parents was just an amazing thing. And you could see that there were struggles at times, but he was appreciative of her staying on him. Just you know, family is important, and we all have family, and we all have had our struggles in life. But to give the service that our schools have given, our township police and their community policing, our emergency folks, it's just tremendous, and it's great that we have that here in our township. So I want to commend everybody on council for continuing this tradition, and I think it's something that we continue to be very proud of. With that, I ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? All those against? Ayes have it. Thank you. Have a great night.